Today on the show, we're going to talk about the top 5 changes from the book to the show in Game of Thrones Season 3.
Yes! Go Khal Drogo! Woo! Alright, Game of Thrones Season 3! It's time to do this thing!
Alright, it's time to do this Red Bull.
Time to get pumped! How you feel?
Give me like 2 minutes.
You're gonna need all the Red Bulls! Now smash the can into your head. Ah! Alright, Season 3 is over. How did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed Season 3 a whole lot. In fact, I think it may be the best season thus far. It's also based on my favorite book in the series, Storm of Swords. And I know everyone knows that the third book has been split into 2 seasons. And I'm really excited that they did that because it's really smart because there's so much good stuff that goes on in that book.
Well, a lot of people were asking why Game of Thrones is so good.
I have several theories as to why Game of Thrones is so hot right now, why it is caught on fire with the viewers.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
One of the reasons that I think Game of Thrones is so interesting is all of the social applications that it has to our society. The show is very much like a mirror of ourselves in a lot of ways. Westeros is going through this really massive change, and I feel like we're also going through a really massive change, and everyone's like, there's all this chaos and discordancy and everyone's vying for, I don't know, trying to get somewhere.
And this season had Stannis. He was all in this season. It's great.
Well, there's a lot of really great character moments this season, and I think that's because now that Westeros is fully entrenched in war, when shit hits the fan, kind of people are who they are. So this season, you're really seeing different sides of characters, which has been really, really interesting and a lot of fun. There's been a lot of really great character development and character arcs that I have very much appreciated watching unfolding.
Okay, what's next?
Here's my top 5 changes from the book to the show in Season 3.
Number 1!
The colorful characters from Dany's camp have been cut. I'm sad about it.
What do you mean?
Well, for starters, there's no Strong Belwaz, which I was really looking forward to, but hopefully maybe they'll introduce him later. Fingers crossed.
Who's that?
So, Strong Belwaz is this like really big fat eunuch guy with all these cuts on his bellies because he like used to be in these crazy fighter pits, and he's like a super badass fighter. And he's always slapping his belly and laughing at everyone, and he's one of Dany's bodyguards, and he is awesome and hilarious, and he plays a big part later on, and I'm hoping that he shows up because he has his own little weird part, but that's for later.
You know, I feel the same way you do about Fat Ball Walls. I was pissed that Khal Drogo is not coming back yet. Maybe he'll be there in the next part, so.
Anyways, another character, colorful character that has been uncolorfuled is Daario Naharis.
Daario Naharis, the whore who doesn't like whores.
I like them very much. I just refuse to pay them.
I was really excited about seeing him.
Oh, that guy? I don't like that guy.
I am not really into it either.
Who is this sleazy Sleazerson coming in, getting cock blocking? First of all, Jorah Mormont, how many cock blocks is he gonna get?
I know, poor Jorah. He just needs to give up the ghost.
When Khal Drogo comes back, he's gonna kick this Oreo Naharis' ass.
All right. Let's keep going. In the books, Daario Naharis is a Tyroshi. He's not a white dude, first of all. He's a Tyroshi. And the Tyroshi people are very flamboyant. And it's stated in the books that he is flamboyant even for a Tyroshi, which is like saying something. He's like a fucking peacock. He's got blue hair, a blue beard with like 3 prongs. He has a golden mustache. And when Dany meets him for the first time, he's just dressed to the nines in all this flamboyant yellow, fucking everything's yellow that he's wearing. He has all this like Irish lace coming down, and he's just ridiculous. He's ridiculous. And it's, you know, part of the fun of going over to Essos is seeing all these really colorful, interesting, weird characters with their weird cultures and their weird clothes and hair. And they've really toned that down a whole lot, and I'm not sure why.
They should have cut out Oreo Naharis and put Fat Ball Walls in his place.
Well, Fat Ball Walls may still be in it yet. Who knows? He may make an appearance later. And as for Dario, well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on his look. He looks better in the book. Sorry, he does.
Red alert!
We have to get out of here now.
Well, I am. I'm sorry. I wanted to see a really cool costume because I like costumes, and I didn't get to see one that I was really looking forward to. So what do you want? Yeah, I'm pissed, okay? Just a costume. Look at you. Just a costume. Costume's a whole character. It's a whole character.
Costume is not a whole character.
The costume is a whole character, and they changed his character. They changed the character of Dario Naharis to somebody that I liked in the books to someone I feel like is sleazy in the show. That I'm like, ugh, don't fuck that guy. But in the books, you're like, yeah, you're gonna fuck that guy, you know? That guy in the show looks like he's got diseases, you know?
So which one's better, the show or the book?
The book, in this case, hands down.
Number 2!
Tyrion Lannister has a lot of changes. In the show, he seems like he's like really bummed about his dad not visiting him, and he's really bitter about it, and he's meh. And he also like, you know, he just gets this cool scar across his face, and then Marjorie Tyrell even says to Sansa like, oh, he's rather handsome, and he looks, you know, even more handsome with the scar, and they kind of make a joke about it.
So?
In the books, first of all, Tyrion is not as handsome, nearly as handsome as Peter Dinklage. Not at all. Peter Dinklage is the Brad Pitt of dwarves, like, hands down. Tyrion is supposed to have, like, one black eye, and one green eye, and his hair's, like, really thin, and, like, he looks like shit, you know? I mean, he's busted. He's not a cute guy. And in the battle, he gets his nose cut off. He doesn't just get a cool scar. He gets his fucking nose cut off.
Cut off?
Yeah, and
the whole nose?
The whole nose?
He's noseless?
Yeah, and he's really fucking bummed about it
That
because,
sounds pretty cool, actually.
well, it's just really tragic because he's already this misshapen, ugly little man, and now his fucking nose is cut off, and he's like, well, fuck, like now I'm even more hideous. Thank God I'm even more hideous than I was before. And it's so tragic. And also in the books, like, Tyrion really isn't, like, vying for his father's affection either. He's not like, oh, he's like already dealt with it and accepted it, you know? I feel like he's already just like, fuck it, like, fuck all of them, you know? He's more sure of himself in the books than he is in the show. But I understand why they did what they did in the show is because they're really pumping up that Lannister family drama. And they're really trying to show you more of the inner workings of these people. And yes, if your dad is a total dick, like, you would be bummed about it, and they want to show that. I get it. And it's what they've done with it has been really good. But like I said, in the books, Tyrion is uglier, and I think a little more rugged, a little more badass. And
why do you think they didn't cut his nose off in the show?
well, practical reasons, like effects reasons, like trying to like brush out his nose for a whole season or trying to give him some weird appliance. I mean, it's not practical. And plus too, they've definitely made Tyrion a lot more of a, how do I put this delicately? They've made Tyrion more beautiful and given him a cool scar so he can be more of a hero to the audience. If they had a truly ugly little man who had his nose cut off, people may not root for him as much, maybe. I mean, because people are shallow. Maybe that's a reason.
Yeah, remember that scene in the Conan the Barbarian movie?
No.
When they cut his nose off?
No.
You know, when Khal Drogo played Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Well, I erased that movie from my brain, actually. I don't, remember almost anything from it.
I remember it because Khal Drogo was playing Conan the Barbarian.
Well, they should have had Khal Drogo just play Khal Drogo in a Khal Drogo movie, and I think it would have done a lot better than a Conan.
Oh, are they? Are they making a Khal Drogo movie?
I don't think so. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you excited.
Terrible. Number 3.
Podrick's storyline is also a bit different. In the show, as you know, he is rewarded by Tyrion for saving his life in battle.
Have you ever been with a woman?
No, my lord.
Wonderful.
by taking him to the whorehouse and getting him 3 sexy ladies.
Jenna specializes in first timers. She's not bad the second time.
And then later on, he finds out that the 3 sexy ladies did not take his sexy gold. And he's like, what the fuck, Podrick? And he's like, I don't know, I didn't want it. And then they all find out that Podrick is a ladies' man.
Yeah.
And he knows how to do stuff.
You know, me and Podrick have a lot in common, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyways, moving...
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think everyone knows what you're saying.
Okay, good.
Okay. In the books, Podrick is like 10, and there's no like.
It means that I'm really
Oh,
good
okay,
with girls.
Hey, this isn't about you, okay?
It means that I'm really good with girls.
He's so good with girls. All you ladies online, you should know.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So in the books, Podrick is like 10 years old or something. He's not nearly as old, and there's no horror storyline. So, yeah. But it's really, it's a really fun change because it's a really great way to have like some comedy relief. And I've really enjoyed that change from the book to the show. It's been a lot of fun.
So which one was better? The show, right?
Yes, the show. I enjoyed the show's version of Podrick's character much more.
Remember that one hooker that could do a crab thing and she was like shrimping?
Yeah, they were gonna do some shrimping later on. Maybe some queeps.
Number 4. Go.
Theon Greyjoy has a few changes from the book to the show. In the show, you see a season-long torture sequence. Oh man, that was really weird.
Brutal.
Yeah, in the books, there is a little bit of torture, but it's not shown to such great detail as it is in the show. You kind of just see him kind of more after the torture has been done on him and where he's already broken and he is now Reek instead of Theon. And he also, like, you know, he has fingers cut off, toes cut off, teeth punched out. He looks 40 years older. His hair is, like, brittle. Like, he's just a shell of a person. And it's also implied in the books that his genitals have been cut off. But in the show, they go to the extra lengths to show you that really does happen.
Ugh, I didn't watch that part where he got his sausage cut off. I turned away.
You know, I think it's a really interesting decision for them to do this with Theon, and I think that they're doing it because it is a really great counterbalance point to all of the sexual violence that happens towards women on the show. You know, women are always being raped, and Roz was, like, killed, you know. I mean, there's all this, like, fucked up sexual violence. And so it's really nice and refreshing to see sexual violence towards a man.
Nice and refreshing to see a torture scene where someone gets his sausage cut. What's wrong with you?
I know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be like, ugh, but...
Foul.
Okay.
Foul-minded. So what's better, the book or the show?
I think it's a toss-up.
Number 5. Go.
Robb's love life is very different. In the show, as you know, he meets Talisa, this girl from Volantis, and she is tending to wounded men. She's a medic, essentially, an army medic. And they fall in love, and they get married because they're so in love. He marries her because he's so in love with her.
And she has a sweet ass.
I'm sure that plays into it a little bit. And so we all know that ends up very badly for both of them. In the books, however, there is no Talisa from Volantis. Instead, there is a girl named Jane Westerling who is from one of the minor houses. And what happens is this. Robb is in a battle and he gets, like, injured. And so he holes up in the Westerling's castle and they're taking care of him. Jane ends up getting a little close with Robb. They both end up, I guess, losing their V cards to one another or some shit. And out of duty and honor, he marries her. Because he's like, I had sex with her, and so I have to marry her. Because that's, like, what he thinks in his honor-bound mind, which he got from his dad. And you never really get to know Jane. He doesn't marry her because, like, oh, she's some great love of his life. You know, he does it out of some weird sense of duty. And It just, again, it ends badly for him, obviously. And Jane is never actually killed. She doesn't go to the Red Wedding. In fact, she's prisoner, I believe, somewhere. But she doesn't matter. Like, who cares about her?
Which one's better, the book or the show?
I would say I kind of prefer the book version in a way because I think it's poignant in the fact that Robb's fate kind of echoes his father's fate, where, you know, he gets killed essentially because he's far too honor bound and isn't thinking with his strategic brain and is thinking with his I have to do what's right brain. And it makes it really tragic. He really is his father's son. It's so tragic to see him lose this war over such a stupid hang up that he has, you know? It's just like, God, you are like your dad. It's really interesting. But then again, the show does a really good job with it. It's tragic in a different way. It's tragic because they are in love and because it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, you see her getting stabbed in her belly where her unborn baby is, and it's just like, oh, the Red Wedding was like super nuts.
Holy shit. You guys knew about this?
And I think they did a really good job with it. So, I mean, they're both really good, just in really different ways.
So it's a tie.
It's a tie. So that's it for our top changes from the book to the show for Game of Thrones Season 3. Be sure to thumbs up this video and also subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook.
Do the Baratheon video. Baratheon video. All caps.
Oh my gosh.
Number 5.
Sansa Stark's storyline is also different. In the show, as you know, she's talking to Peter Baelish about escaping with him and getting out of King's Landing, but then she falls into a plot with the Tyrells to marry her off to Loras, and that gets foiled, and then she has to marry Tyrion. And she's like, fuck, why didn't I go with Peter? And she's like super sad at the end when she sees his little ship sailing away. And that was interesting. But in the books, it's a little different. In the books, Sansa is not talking to Peter Baelish about getting out of King's Landing. She's hatching a plan with Ser Dantos, the drunken knight fool that she saved from Joffrey. And he meets her in the God's Wood and he's telling her, I got this plan. I'm going to get you out of here, girl. Just hang in there with me. And she's like, I don't know if I trust him completely because he's kind of retarded and a drunk. But she's going along with it until she falls into a plot with the Tyrells to marry Willis, the heir to Highgarden, who isn't Loras, but he's not in the show, so whatever. And then, again, it gets foiled by the Lannisters and she has to marry Tyrion. Now, I can't really talk about it completely because it's going to play into next season. But the Ser Dantos storyline is really, really interesting, and it's a lot smarter, in my opinion, instead of having just Peter Baelish talk to her, because Peter Baelish is a really smart motherfucker, okay? And do you think that Peter Baelish in broad daylight in King's Landing, a place full of spies, would go to idiot Sansa Stark and try to outline a plot with her? Like, he would never be that dumb to talk to fucking stupid Sansa about anything. And it's far cooler what happens in the books and how things transpire that I can't really talk about. Wow.
So which one's better, book or the show?
I would say the book in this case. I would definitely go with the book because there's a lot more intrigue and twists and turns and there's more surprises and it's a little more fun. I really don't know what they're going to do with her story next season. I don't know how things are going to happen. I don't want to say anything.
Sansa.
Yeah, poor Sansa. She's such a dope. Stupid dope. Oh yeah, and in the books, Loras is a part of the Kingsguard. So that whole thing where Loras is supposed to marry Cersei or he'll have to be a Kingsguard member, that's bullshit. Loras already goes in the Kingsguard because he doesn't want to get married and he's not the heir to Highgarden as it is. So that's also minor.
Sansa.
Sansa. Everyone's favorite Stark.